My name is Ethan Hale. I'm 33 years old and I live in Columbus, Ohio. And this is how my 7-year marriage ended, not with tears, but with a scornful laugh from the woman I used to call my wife. If you'd asked me 2 months ago if Natalie was cheating on me, I probably would have laughed and said, "No way, my wife is just busy with work. She works in high-end sales, erratic schedule, intense deadlines. So when she came home late, I accepted it. When she said she needed space to focus on herself, I nodded. And when her phone password suddenly changed after 7 years of marriage, I just asked gently, "Is everything okay?" Natalie tossed her hair, sipped her wine, her eyes glued to the screen. "You're being too controlling, Ethan." I sat there, the glass of water in my hand, colder than my wife's gaze. Then there were the strange expenses. Restaurants I'd never heard of. Day spas. Clothes, handbags without a shared receipt. I asked and Natalie shrugged. "Meeting clients. That's my job. Remember? I believed it. But then one day while I was fixing the kitchen faucet, her phone rang. No lock, no code, just a clear message. Preview. "Trevor, see you tonight, love." He still suspects nothing. My hands trembled. The faucet wrench fell to the floor. The name Trevor hit me like a slap. Her ex-boyfriend, whom she'd said was just a friend. Old flames don't matter. My trust shattered like the rusty pipe in my hand. I waited until Natalie came home, 9:15 p.m. She walked in tight, red dress, deep red lips, soft waves in her hair. Not exactly dressed for work. I handed her the phone, said nothing. She glanced at it, then laughed, a cold, scornful laugh. Finally catching on. Huh? I was speechless. "Grant, no. Trevor is a senior partner now," she said, taking off her necklace and placing it on the table like she was stepping out of a role. "And you still fixing pipes and talking about your never-gonna-happen business ideas." I tried to speak. She raised her hand, pulling out a stack of documents. "I want to sell the house. Trevor and I are moving in together. Your place is too small." I swallowed hard. "This house is in both our names. I don't agree." She rolled her eyes. "You can't afford the mortgage on your own anyway." "Stop with the drama, Ethan. Just sign. Take your share. Go rent some cheap place right up your alley, isn't it?" Then she went into the bedroom, tore our wedding photo from the frame, and threw it in the trash. "You were always a temporary arrangement. Trevor is the one I truly love." The next day, Natalie's sister Aubrey came over. I used to think of her as family. This time she walked in with a smirk. She told me everything. "You should just sign the papers, Ethan. Natalie is too good to be stuck with a loser." I sat there silently. No reaction, no argument. Signed the draft of the house sale agreement, not legally binding yet. She looked at me triumphant. "Must feel good to finally admit you lost, huh?" I nodded. "Yeah, it does. Because while they thought they'd won, I had already started preparing. They didn't know I'd saved all the suspicious messages, photos, and transactions. I'd backed up every conversation, fully recorded every time they spoke. I knew Trevor was in financial trouble, information from an old friend in the same industry. They thought I was weak. They thought I was a doormat. They didn't know that I was the one who was rewriting the ending of this story. A week after Natalie tore up the wedding photo, I started disappearing, but not in the way she wanted. I still slept in the same bed, still poured coffee every morning, still said goodbye to her when she left the house. But in Natalie's eyes, I was just a shadow, the ex-husband who wouldn't leave. And that was exactly what I wanted her to believe. During the day, I used every hour to prepare, gather bank statements. All of Natalie's expenses for work were actually restaurants, hotels, spas with Trevor. Extracted images from the neighbor's doorbell camera where Trevor often visited during work hours. Recorded conversations because Ohio is a one-party consent state for recording. I saved everything to a separate hard drive, encrypted it, and made 3 backups. Natalie thought I was collapsing. No, I was building a case to destroy their image, piece by piece. I started reaching out to Natalie's parents, Mir and Mrs. Pierce. They were kind people. I used to think of them as my second parents. Met them at a small, quiet cafe when I showed them the phone swiping through the messages between Natalie and Trevor. The photos of them hugging on the porch while I was away, and the details of the $20,000 Natalie borrowed from them under the guise of house repairs, which was actually used as a down payment on a new apartment with Trevor. For Pierce said nothing, just stared at his coffee cup. Mrs. Pierce burst into tears. "We raised her better than this," he said, his voice breaking. That's when I made my first move. "Trevor needs money urgently. His company is bleeding contracts. Natalie wants me to sell the house so he can stabilize his life. Mr. Pierce's face changed. We didn't know. Now you do, I said, and they don't know that I know. An old friend of mine, Logan, works at a company that directly competes with Trevor's. I met him for lunch. Trevor Collins. He raised an eyebrow. That guy just lost a bunch of contracts. Rumor has it, he's under investigation for sharing client data off the books. I nodded. And what if I gave you proof he's getting information from someone inside another company? Logan grinned. Then we could offer you a job and simultaneously crush him. I started drafting an email, 19 addresses. Natalie's boss, Trevor's partners, mutual friends, the HR manager, and Aubrey's parents. But I didn't send it, not yet. I needed one more recording. The opportunity came when Natalie and Aubrey came to see me for a peaceful resolution. I let them into the living room. Natalie sat down confident as if she were at a negotiation. Aubrey leaned against the chair, crossed her legs. Ethan, be realistic. You can't win. Just sign the papers and live the rest of your life decently. I nodded. I just want a fair share of the assets. Natalie scoffed. Fair. You've already gotten too much from me, Aubrey added. You should be grateful we're letting you go quietly. I simply asked, what about the debts in my name, the credit accounts? Who's responsible? They were silent for a few seconds. Then Natalie smiled faintly. We need you to sign off on the loan papers before we separate. That's already taken care of, right? I pressed the button on the phone in my pocket. Enough recording that night. Natalie went out to dinner with clients. I knew it was with Trevor. I moved all my valuables, documents, and hard drives to a personal storage unit. Security cameras installed the week before. I changed the Wi-Fi password iCloud account, and all linked bank accounts. I left only one thing. The post-it note Natalie wrote. Move your stuff out by Friday. I took a picture of it, saved it in a folder. Ultimate proof. I didn't yell at them, didn't smash anything, didn't destroy the house. I just sent the photos, recordings, and financial evidence to my lawyer, who was waiting for the signal to start the lawsuit. And when Natalie came home that night, she had no idea that her perfect life was counting down the hours, 800 a.m. Monday, I sat at my usual cafe, opened my laptop, and double-checked every email. 19 addresses, each name a thread in the web they'd woven over the months. Natalie's direct supervisor at Pearson Hudson, Trevor's business partners at Collins Strategic Group Human Resources, the mutual friends who had witnessed me being kicked out of my own life, and of course, Jade Monroe, Trevor's close secretary, whom Natalie didn't know was his actual other woman. I took a deep breath, clicked send home. All 9:13 a.m. phone vibrated. Natalie, I didn't answer, just looked at the notification. Ethan, are you insane? I'm being called into the office. They're saying there's an email accusing me of sharing client information with competitors. What did you send? I put the phone down, continued. Drinking my coffee, the game had begun, 10:47 a.m. Trevor officially blocked Natalie, I knew, because she texted me at 10:49. Grant isn't answering. What did you do? Grant, the name she always mixed up with Trevor when she was drunk. And lying, I guess Natalie couldn't even remember who was who anymore. I texted back a single word. Fair. 11:32 a.m. Aubrey called. Her voice shrill with anger. You've ruined this family. I lost my job. They found out I was using company time to plan my sister's finances, which now turns out to be aiding and abetting. I asked, did you record the part where you called me pathetic and low class? She was silent. I continued. I did. Hung up, 1:05 p.m. I was about to leave the cafe when Natalie burst in, lipstick, smeared mascara running, designer bag askew. What do you want? Why are you doing this? I sat down calm as if I were about to sign a contract, the truth, and silence. She yelled, Grant, Trevor says you never promised me anything that I imagined everything. I pulled out my phone, played the recording of Natalie bragging to Aubrey. Trevor will marry me after I get my share of the house money. Ethan, just a stepping stone. Stepping stone, what she called me. A bridge to get to the next man. Her face went white. You recorded me. One-party consent. Legal, I replied. Natalie started to tremble, not with anger, because she knew she had no more cards to play. 27. The door swung open. Jade Monroe, the beautiful secretary Trevor had secretly pursued, walked in. Natalie, her voice rang out cold as steel. The entire cafe fell silent. Trevor says you were the stalker, that you had an abortion for him, that you're clingy old trash. Natalie's mouth hung open. I have the messages, the photos, and the recording of him promising to marry me the same day he said he was choosing you. Natalie slumped into her chair. Jade pulled out her phone, swiped through a series of images and audio clips. There was even a photo of Trevor buying a ring. Not for Natalie. I stood up, poured more coffee. What do you want from me, Jade? Jade looked at me, half smiling. I just want her to know she wasn't the winner. And I want to know what you did to make Trevor lose half his clients overnight. She winked, I shrugged. I just sent the truth. The rest is karma. 3:00 p.m. I returned home. Natalie still had the key, but I'd moved all the valuables to storage. Every corner of the house was empty. Empty as the illusion of luxury she'd built on betrayal. I left a single note. I'll finalize the house sale papers. The price is beyond our expectations. My lawyer will be in touch. Everything has been documented. No need to meet again. That night, I opened the draft of the financial documents Natalie suspended pending investigation. Trevor lost almost all his contracts under internal investigation. Aubrey reprimanded and fired Jade Single and accidentally shared all the messages with Valeria Walsh, whom I was meeting again at the end of the week, and me. I opened a beer, sat in my new apartment, safe, quiet, no lies. 3 days after I sent the emails, Natalie still tried to maintain a facade of calm. She still posted old photos on Instagram, coffee cups, designer shoes, a blurry photo of someone with the caption, "Peace is a choice." But I knew I saw the long, increasingly frantic texts still pouring into my phone, the missed calls from her parents, which I never answered, and then Natalie's photos disappeared from the company website. An inside source told me Natalie was officially suspended indefinitely pending an investigation into professional ethics violations. Aubrey vanished from social media. No stories, no likes, no cryptic captions. A mutual friend messaged me privately. She's being ostracized by her colleagues and her friend group has started to unfollow. Follow her. They hate drama, and she is the definition of dirty drama. I didn't comment, just sent back the recording of Aubrey calling me a stain on the Pierce family. Silent clean. And then the biggest rumor of all spread. Trevor Collins, the ideal man Natalie traded everything for, was engaged. Not to Natalie, but to Jade Monroe, the secretary who had quietly stood on the sidelines, secretly gathering all the evidence from the elites. Natalie found out on Facebook. Trevor posted a photo short caption, "Sometimes the right thing is what you always took for granted." Under the comments, Jade dropped a heart emoji. Natalie lost control. That night, Natalie stormed to my new apartment. Not knocking, just pounding as if she wanted to break down the hallway. I didn't open the door, just watched on the security camera. "Ethan, open up. We have to talk. Grant Trevor, whatever he lied to me, he's engaged. It's your fault, isn't it?" I just played the old recording from my phone, the one where she said, "Ethan is just a stepping stone. When Trevor is stable, I'll leave. It's that simple." She froze, then burst into tears. "I was wrong, Ethan. I messed up. Everyone's turned their backs on me." I texted through the door. "I haven't. I've only turned towards what's right." The next day, she was officially fired from the company. HR confirmed sharing internal information with competitors was a serious violation. Then Natalie's parents called me the first time I answered since the meeting at the cafe. Mr. Pierce's voice was weary. "Ethan, can you give her another chance after all? You two were once family." I didn't reply immediately. Just put the phone on speaker. Played the video of Natalie tearing up the wedding photo saying, "He's just someone I chose to live with temporarily." Silence lasted for almost a minute. "I understand," he said. "Thank you for still being respectful." As for Trevor, it wasn't over yet. A friend in the industry sent me a message. Heard Jade submitted an internal report on Trevor's shady financial activities. His old company is being audited. I smiled. Karma comes slowly, but it doesn't forget anyone. And me, I got a promotion at my new company. Not because I got revenge successfully, but because I proved my worth calmly and professionally. I moved into an apartment complex with a garden, a reading room, and Elena Walsh. We're not rushing, we're not replacements. We're two people who have lost trust now, rebuilding from scratch with sincerity, not illusions. One day, Elena and I were at the cafe where Natalie had freaked out when she saw me with Jade. Natalie walked in, alone clothes, wrinkled eyes, tired. She froze when she saw us, then turned away. Elena just smiled faintly. "Is that her?" I nodded, the one who said I was a stepping stone. I sipped my coffee, replying, yeah, and now the bridge has been dismantled because the person on the other side wasn't worth crossing over for. They used to call me not good enough. They used to laugh at my job, my old car, my small dreams. They tore up our wedding photo, dismissed 7 years of my efforts just because they believed love was about fancy dinners and loud promises. But I didn't shout, didn't beg, didn't retaliate with pain. I just quietly walked away with evidence in hand and the truth as my weapon. And then one by one, every mask fell off. Not because I won, but because they never thought my kindness had limits. If you've ever been looked down upon, don't shout to be heard. Be silent and let the truth speak for itself. Thank you for watching until the end of this story. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. I am Ethan Hale, not a perfect person, but I know where the line is, and I no longer ask for permission to be myself. See you in the next story. Goodbye.